Hello. It's Off Book Movie Recap speaking. Today I have summarized a crime mystery drama film titled The Clinic, which was released in 2010. Stay alert, there will be spoilers in my review. The film opens in 1979 in Australia with a young pregnant woman named Beth and her boyfriend Cameron, traveling to visit her parents. Beth is very excited to spend the holidays with her mother. Suddenly, Cameron spots a high-speed truck approaching them, and they are almost thrown off the road by the reckless truck driver. Fortunately, Cameron safely parked the car on the side of the road. Beth becomes scared and informs her boyfriend that they still have 2 more hours to drive, so they should drive faster to reach their parents' home before the sunset. Cameron turns around the car back on the road, but after some miles he notices that the car is running low on gas, so they decide to check in at the desolate motel, despite being a bit dingy and run by a perverted sweaty guy named Hank. The couple has no choice but to stay at the motel for the night. Beth and her boyfriend were sitting by the pool that evening. Cameron tries to enjoy each moment of the silent environment and tries to make it out on top. However, they get interrupted by another couple. The couple stands and looks at them strangely, ignores Beth's welcome and friendly gesture, and decides to move back immediately. When Beth takes a nap at the pool, she experiences strange dreams. She sees a crying baby surrounded by blood and Roman numerals, which scares her. Tearfully, she wakes up and expresses her worries to her boyfriend that she might lose her baby like the previous miscarriages, but Cameron comforts her and takes her to the bedroom. Later, at midnight, Beth is snoozing, but Cameron is unable to sleep because he's starving. So he leaves a note on her pillow and says he's going in search of food, but the nearby restaurant is closed. He tries to start the car, but it has run out of fuel. Then he had to foot back to the motel after an unsuccessful trip to town. Cameron opens the room, but it feels strange to him when the door has already been opened. Additionally, Beth is not in bed and the note is still intact. He checks inside and around the motel, however, his pregnant girlfriend is nowhere to be seen. He then called and notified the local police about her disappearance. The officer attended the scene, and he asked him some incriminating questions along with the motel owner. While coupled and leering over his missing girlfriend photo, Cameron snapped and accused the motel owner of kidnapping his girlfriend and demanded to check inside his room. Attacks him and strangles him, which leaves him beaten and thrown inside the police car. There are no further investigations into Beth's whereabouts. The scene shifts to Beth awakening from an unconscious state in the bathtub filled with ice. As she slowly regains consciousness of her surroundings, she regrettably finds a fresh cesarean on her belly and no baby. Distraught, weak, and in severe pain, she spots the pair of clothes that were left for her. They are embroidered with Roman numerals on them. Beth wanders through the deserted, cold building and discovers more rooms where similar scenes have taken place. As Beth reaches outside and spots nobody around, she makes her break for freedom and runs out into the wilderness. However, her attempts to escape are fruitless, as she is greeted by a barbed wire fence and the gate chained and padlocked out. Growing in despair, she collapses. She eventually has 3 other women with matching C-sections on their abdomens come and rescue her. Meanwhile, Cameron is being driven to police stations by the detective and is going to be charged with assault. Beth's boyfriend grabbed the officer's gun and held him at gunpoint. Ordered him to pull over on the roadside. He gets himself uncuffed. And he uses the same cuffs to tie the officer to the pole. Drives the police vehicle and races back to leave the officer in the middle of nowhere. A woman named Veronica ties Beth's stomach to avoid heavy blood loss. Ivy and Allison, the silent baby mother, are all wondering and asking why they have been imprisoned. Suddenly, they hear someone screaming for help inside the facility. They follow the lady's noise back into the facility. As they follow each other's footsteps, the group finds splattered blood on the floor. And when they follow it, they only find another woman in the same uniform lying and breathing so deeply on the ground. She has the same stitches on her belly, however, her abdomen is wide open and is severely bleeding. She tells them that her baby is blue, and she asks Beth to take care of the baby if she finds her before she becomes lifeless. They buried the woman in the field the following morning, but they are still baffled as to why the woman mentioned that her baby was blue. Ivy speculates that her baby may be suffering from an unidentified sickness that makes the baby's skin blue. The group decides to return to the building because they are determined to find their babies. Beth argues and suggests that it would be preferable to divide the group into 2. She wants Ivy to move with and look after the silent Allison because she has eye problems. And Veronica would move and follow Beth. Ivy discovers the camera as they enter the room and takes a picture of Allison to keep the memories before putting it over her neck. Ivy departs, leaving the silent baby mother alone with a lantern in the darkness. Ivy finds a glass room and spots candy locked inside it, so she breaks the glass and tastes the sweetness of it. Veronica discloses to Beth that Ivy is relieved to know that her baby is gone because it's Ivy herself who revealed to them that she was raped by several men. As they go along, they walk into a room where they find old photos of pregnant women. Beth figures out that they're not the first victims to get locked in this place. Allison tries to look for her way out alone in the darkness with her lantern. She gets horrified when she enters the dusty room, which is infested by insects and spider webs. Allison panics. In the process, she drops the lamp down and it gets broken. As she tries to fix it in haste, it is unknown to her that her backside appears to be a woman with a scalpel blade. Suddenly, Beth and Veronica hear Allison screaming. They try to run to her, but only to find her dead, and in addition, her stomach is as wide open as the previous woman. Beth blames Ivy for not looking after Allison, yet she knew about her sight problems. Veronica spots the green tag inside her stomach. This confuses them more. Ivy finds out that Allison took a picture of the woman before killing her. Completely baffled, the woman has been wearing the same uniform with Roman numerals embroidered on it. Beth recalls seeing these numerals in her dreams, but she's yet to find their meanings. Cameron drives straight to the sleeping Hank. He punches him across the face first before threatening him with a gun, demanding his girlfriend's whereabouts. Hank has no choice but to reveal everything to him, as there is one woman who doused Beth with the drug and picked her up from the motel room. He discloses the location where Beth is locked. In his haste, Cameron follows the directions, and by using the police vehicle, he races on the dusty road to rescue his girlfriend. The scene shifts to Beth and her group walking through the rooms, where they find an abundance of babies locked in cages with colored tags on them. Unfortunately, no one can differentiate their specific babies. Beth notices the green tag that was found in Allison's abdomen and the blue tag for the first woman. Beth figures out that each one of them has reflective tags that have been sewn inside each one's stomach. And the woman in the picture is killing them simply to find out what color her internal tag is without opening her belly. There are no keys to unlock the baby cages. Ivy becomes too emotional when she sees the babies and suggests they should look for the keys to get their babies out. Veronica used to be a surgeon, so she informs them that she can operate on their stomachs if she can find the medical tools. Unaware that there's a couple monitoring this whole process through the surveillance cameras, back to Beth's boyfriend, he drives against time to get her pregnant girlfriend back. Unfortunately, the car crashed in the valley, and sadly, Beth's fiancé didn't make it out alive. The group moves outside the facility. However, when they encounter two dogs fighting over a wharf rat corpse, the mothers freeze. The instant the canines notice them, they break into a run while the beasts chase them. Mothers split into different directions to divert them, just as the dogs sprint to catch up with them. Beth and Veronica jump into the trench to save their skins. Ivy decides to run into the cattle farm, where she hides under a petroleum jelly drum. After a while, Veronica wakes up and awakens Beth. They suggest that climbing up can be a good idea. Beth successfully makes it out, but Veronica is unable to make it out because her knee got dislocated, so Beth tells her to stay in total silence as she finds a way to pull her out. On the other side, in the cattle paddocks, Ivy wakes up and tries to find her way through the barn. Unfortunately, it's a dead end, so she decides to go back only to find the door locked up. The cows are mooing loudly, and Ivy becomes frightened. She calls out Veronica, and Beth thinks they're the ones following her. The brutal woman grabs her from behind, strangles her, and Ivy multiple times to death. As the mothers are eliminated one by one, apparently there are people monitoring this whole process through security cameras. They take out their files and cross everyone who has been killed. Beth is on a mission to rescue Veronica from the trench. However, she comes across a self-contained camping cabin. Then she walks inside and finds the framed photographs of a woman. That instant, she hears footsteps approaching the cabin. Through the window, she sees a man named Duncan carrying Ivy's corpse in the trolley. She hides in the lavatory while the man enters the wagon. When Duncan spots her through the mirror, he starts to tell himself that women are not allowed in Duncan's house. Miss Shepherd will be upset by it. He keeps repeating the same phrase. Beth recognizes the man's mental impairment. So she emerges from the cover and introduces herself while offering him candy. With an open mind, Beth asks him who Miss Shepherd is. Duncan tells her that Miss Shepherd is both the establishment's owner and his mother. He helps his mother to breach and clean the blood from the floors. Beth notices the keys on Duncan's belt and asks him if they are for the baby cages. Duncan tells him that he's not allowed to talk about it before running away. Beth goes after him in that darkness. Eventually, she tackles him to the ground and snatches the keys from him. Beth rushes to the trenches with metal cages to fetch Veronica from where she is trapped. Successfully, Beth gets her out and offers support as she walks to the abandoned vehicle. Beth bandages the wet wound with a cloth. Suddenly, the brutal mother unbrakes the truck on the cliff and drives towards them, but Beth manages to pull Veronica out. She carries her friend Veronica into the abandoned warehouse, locking themselves inside. Veronica calls Beth for help as she uses the broken glass to start an operation on her belly to get the tag out. Unfortunately, the lights go off when she has just opened the abdomen. This complicates the operation for herself because she is no longer able to see in the darkness. Beth moves outside to solve the power problem. Veronica becomes nervous, unaware that the brutal mother was just standing behind her, who attacked and strangled her straight to the ground. Savagely, she grabs her stomach and pulls the yellow tag from Veronica's belly. Beth runs back and knocks the brutal mother to the ground. They engage in a physical fight, but she is aiming at her stomach to remove the stitches. Eventually, Beth kicks her to the wall, and the iron bar pierces her stomach. Beth checks on dying Veronica. She tells Beth to look after her baby before taking her last breath. When Beth turns around, she realizes that the brutal woman is not dead, she has escaped from the hook. Beth follows the blood drops on the floor to the bathroom, where she finds her lying down on the ground. The brutal woman opens up her stomach, gets her tag out, and threatens to throw all the tags into the drainage unless Beth promises to look after her baby. Beth accepts, then gives her the photograph of a woman who convinced her to kill 5 women to collect their tags so that she would know her baby without opening her stomach. With the keys and the reflective tags in her hands, an excited Beth runs to collect her baby. To her disappointment, she finds out the room is empty and the cages were unlocked with no signs of the babies. Beth becomes more outraged and starts to break down. Suddenly, the power goes off, and in that darkness, somebody knocks her out. Only to wake up chained to the floor as she sees a baby with a purple tag being held by an estranged Russian couple. She cries loudly out of frustration the moment she sees her baby. Apparently this whole thing is set up by the woman, Miss Shepherd, who makes expected mothers fight one another while a potential couple can observe how the mother reacts, ensuring their baby comes from a strong breed. Miss Shepherd has been running this for many years, assisted by her mentally disabled son. The deal with adoption is that the adopting parents are forced to kill the biological mother. But lucky for Beth, she was nice to her disabled son Duncan, who barges in with the shotgun ready to shoot. Beth cries and begs Duncan to shoot the Russian couple. The Russian man pulls the trigger first, but Duncan shoots and kills the adopting parents as Miss Shepherd runs away. Beth breaks free and grabs the shotgun, looking for Miss Shepherd. However, she hears her baby crying in the opposite room, so she runs back to meet her child. Miss Shepherd moves from her cover and discloses to Beth that she was adopted out of this program as a baby and that the people she thought were her parents were the ones who killed her biological mother. Outrageously, Beth confronts her, and thanks to the keys she had, Beth barbarously stabs her with them and pierces her stomach, killing her on the spot. Moments later, the police officer approaches Beth and regrettably informs her about her boyfriend's death in the car crash. After a few weeks, Beth decides to visit the cemetery to visit her biological mother's gravestone. But she comes across an old man who is coming from the same graveyard. Beth notices fresh flowers on the gravestone, which prompts her to ask the maintenance man. He reveals to her that for the last 2 decades, his pregnant wife went missing, and he never saw them again. The maintenance man gives Beth the man's residence, convinced that the man is her biological father, and she's planning to meet with him soon. This brings the movie to an end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more of my videos. Have a good day.